Cuban Missile Crisis happened then.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything about that? Did that make a difference?
No, but we were on alert. We couldn't be over 4 hours away from the base. I mean,
Yeah.
we needed to be back on the base. But when we were on Oahu, so you
Yeah.
were pretty much, you could go anywhere you wanted, still be back in 4 hours.
So that FMF assignment, was that basically the corpsman you normally associate with a Marine platoon?
That's right.
So you were a platoon level medic, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and I did that for Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 4th Marines, for 2 years, and then I was with the headquarters company and ran out of the Battalion 8 station. And just ran as a relief to, somebody was sick or they were short somebody, then I would fill in the different places. But yeah, always with the Mud Marines, always with the infantry.
And you've kept up that capability to be a medic?
Yeah, it was always kind of an interest for me, and so yeah, I did advanced first aid when they had it, and then they moved to the whole EMT thing, and so I took EMT courses, and I still maintain that first responder stuff, but yeah, I still do.
So you're in the gas station, and the guy says, "Come on, let's go on a fire." So you signed up for that, and then what happened with your fire career after that? Before you became a jumper, what happened?
With that fire crew?
Well, with any fire.
With any fire crew?
Yeah.
Well, last summer when I did that, I learned that there was a lot of competition between the Native American crews. Now, I was out with a Flathead crew, which was a mix of Pend Oreille and Salish and Kootenai folks. But we came, there was a fresh pile of feces along the fire line when we were going up at night. It was, you could smell it, And Tom McDonald turned around to the crew and he said, "That's Blackfeet." And, it occurred to me right then, there's something going on here between the Blackfeet and the Flathead. So, but that was kind of an interesting thing. So, about a week on that fire, and it paid pretty good. It paid better than what my dad was paying me in the service station, which was pretty good wages. But it was even better than that. And so I had disposable income about $150, $175, something like that. And I had been watching, and the guys that ran chainsaws were making even more money because they were getting paid for their time, but then they were also charging a time for their chainsaw. So their time was their chainsaw's time. So they were getting like $3 an hour or whatever it was, and then their chainsaw got another $1.50 an hour. Wow, that was really making a lot of money. So I took my $150 or $175 investment, went down and bought a little McCullough, and and I put my name on the call me basis for the next fire. Collected this little McCullough, went back to the service station with my dad, and I said, "How do you start this thing?" He said, "What are you going to do with that?" I told him, "Well, if they get another fire, I'm going to rent myself out and the saw out, and I'm going to go make some real money, So, and that happened. And I was out sawing away, didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know how to make a cut, I didn't know how to fall a tree, barely knew how to start the day. But there was on that fire, it was around White Horse Lake, which was in the Jocko. And there was an old logger on there, and it kind of out of self-protection more than anything else. He was watching me, and he said, I'll give you some hints on how to do this. And I said, "Oh, great, that's okay, yeah." I'm eager to learn, you know. And so he taught me the rudiments of how not to kill him out there.
Exactly.
In the woods. So that's kind of what I did that summer. And then that fall, then I thought, well, you know, with all this extensive fire experience that I've had, you know, I could be a smoke jumper now. So I applied to the jumper program, wrote them a letter, application, said I wanted to be a smoke jumper. And they wrote me back a real nice, polite letter that said, well, we've met our quota for next year, but there's a position on the hotshot crew down in Bitterroot. Would that be something that you would accept? And yeah, sure, why not? It was a job, and you know, it was different than what I had grown up. I'd grown up in the service station, so I was looking for something else. And so I went down and spent a summer with the Bitterroot. And Jim Crockett was an old jumper, and Jim was the boss of that crew. And we had an operational tempo that summer that was really good. I know I had well over 500 hours of overtime on that hotshot crew that summer. And Jim was kind of a crazy guy. I mean, he really was. I mean, he'd take members of the crew to the whorehouses in the Helena and in Butte, and there was always lots of beer and lots of things going on, and he'd get drunk up. He'd be up on a logging road someplace. The rest of the crew would be down fallen trees, you know, and sawing and stuff while he was sobering up. But he was a good crew boss. And I was trying to remember. Who all became jumpers off that crew. Frank Sulliff, I think. Ronnie Lay. Somebody else. Brooke. One of the Brooke boys. His dad was a doctor in Missoula. About 4 of us wound up there. 2 of us the first year, and then another 2 came on the second year. But for some reason, Crockett took a liking to Rondi and I, and he gave a blessing to our application for the jumper program. They pick us up there.
Did you go into Missoula?
Yeah.
Or is that where you started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So '67 was the training year then.
So what do you remember about that training year down there? Anything stand out?
Well,
for you.
Well, yeah. There was a fellow from Andalusia, Georgia, by the name of Dwayne Mooney, and he and I kind of buddied up, and we were out during Hell Week, and we put up the tents and did all the running around out in the woods. And they called us into kind of a rough formation one morning, and there was this skinny guy that was standing out there, just, you know, kind of round-shouldered kind of guy, and wasn't very big, kind of emaciated looking. Come here, Pop. Here. Sit down. Sit. Stay there. Good. And I turned to Dwayne when they said, well, this guy's name's Ted. He's going to take you on a little conditioning run this morning. And I turned to Dwayne and I said, you know, I think we got this right. This guy doesn't look like he's going to last very long. They didn't tell us that the Ted that they were referring to was Ted Nyquist, and he was a cross-country champion for the University of Missoula. So about 5 miles later, when we were regretting having eaten breakfast for those that still retained it, I learned a real big lesson about don't judge a book by its cover. You know? Just something else. No, well, that was really kind of an interesting year. I know that a number of jumpers have talked about the years where they hit a lot of jumps, but 1967 when we trained, the operational tempo that year was just far greater than most other years. 61 was another big year. I know Tom Kovalecki talks about getting 14 jumps in 1961 when he trained, and that's about what I did.
Was it all just down in Montana or all over the place?
Oh gosh, I can't.
Yeah.
I've got the jump records in there, but I think most of it was in Montana. And I can't remember when I went where, but I know I wound up in California at one point, in Washington at one point, Idaho, and Oregon. So
Did they start right away to make use of your EMT or your medic background? Anybody
nobody,
pick up on that?
nobody got hurt. I mean, I didn't have to take care of anybody, but that was certainly a factor in the hiring decision.
Was it?
Yeah, they were real pleased to have somebody with that kind of training, and to come out of an association with the Marine Corps, so they were always looking for guys that had some tough training and had some advanced skills that they could directly apply. So yeah, that was an important feature.